Hi, my name's Craig Dewar. I'm a Tableau consultant, and recently I put together a visualization designed for the Apple Watch for a customer of mine. And I really wanted to show it off to you folks out there, so I've built a very similar one using SuperStore data. Here it is here. You can see it's a pretty simple heat map of percentages of targets for sales, and there's a customer satisfaction rating. What I really wanted to show you in this video was the companion piece to this, which was the trending. So if I was a sales executive, I'm looking at this on my watch, I see that my office is 78% yesterday and 89% the last 7 days. I'm wanting to get a feel for, is that a trend that's appearing there I need to do something about? So let me show you the end state of the trending dashboard that we put together. And you can see it again designed for the Apple Watch. You can scroll down into a bunch of different categories. So we can either have set your subscription to go to regions or to categories, and you can set your description to be a current month, or if you wanted to have a look at last month or even last quarter. So you can see in here we have some nice labeling, some good space above and below the sparklines, and getting all this to get together like this was quite a challenge. And I'd like to take you through a few little tricks that I learned along the way, and of course give you a link to a downloadable version of this dashboard on Tableau Public. So let's go and start having a new sheet, and we'll get to a current month together. So let's start drawing this sparkline. So let's go with the date. It's continuous, and let's have a look at the selected period only. Don't want any 1904 data there. And let's have a look at some sales information here. Let's have a look at our actual sales. And you can see that you almost see. Let me see if I can resize this for you. Okay, so we can see that's daily sales. It's not cumulative. Let's get a cumulative look at that number. It's a running sum. Now we can see the running sum starting at the beginning of October, and by the 10th of October we've sold 61,000. Let's have a look at what our target is. So let's grab our running sum of the sales target, and we'll put that on a dual axis. Alright, we can start to see some trending, but you're not really interested in sales versus target as two lines. You really want to know your sales versus target as a percentage. So let's grab that one. So running sum, actual sales, percentage of target. That's going to be more like it. What you do notice is now that we only have up to the 10th of October. We'll come to that later on, but what I want to do is just start off with a sparkline. It's got a nice big circle on the end with a percentage in. That's where we're at right now. So let's go and grab this measure that I've built here, which is the running sum, actual sales, as at the reporting date. So let's bring that on as a second axis, and you can see it's appeared there as a dot down there. So let's make that a dual axis, and we'll synchronize it. Turn it into a circle. Let's make it a nice big circle. And there you go, we're starting to get a sparkline. Let's put a percentage label in there. And that's a little tiny one below the dot. I want a big one inside the dot. So let's go in and change that to be middle. Let's go with 14 bold. There you go. Start to get a sparkline. But you might have noticed when we were back on our original dashboard that we had another dot out here is our target. Where are we headed to? We want to get to 100% by the end of the month. let's see if we can get a dot out there at the end of the month. Give us some context. So we've got another measure here, which is the target as at the reporting date and 100% at the end of the period. So let's replace that with that one. Voila, we've got 2 dots now. Let's replace that label with that measure, and there we go. So we've got a pretty good sparkline going now. Let's put some color on that, get it up here nice on the old AppleWatch. So let's start to get a 3-tiered stepped diverging color palette. I like to use a red or amber blue. What I found worked well with this dashboard is to go with a more of an aqua than a blue. So we'll go with aqua and maybe a bit darker. We'll try with that one. And let's go and fix it at 70% is red, 115% is aqua, and therefore you can see it goes steps from orange to aqua at about 100. Let's do the same thing for the line. Oops, click once. Bear with us a second, just get those same colors going. Step color, reverse, 3 steps, advanced, 70, and 0.15. Let's see if we can get something closer to aqua again. Cool. Okay, so let's get a bit of background color going here. So let's format our lines first. Actually, get rid of those grid lines. And let's now format our shading. So you might have noticed that AppleWatch dashboard had a sort of blue background. It worked quite nicely. And to finish it off, let's make sure our labels are white. Alright, so we'll hide that header, hide the date, hide this null thing, and then we'll hide that one. There we go, we're starting to get somewhere. Okay, let's talk about enriching this further. So you might notice that we've got quite a lot of white space down here. That will be because we've got a 0 on our axis. So let's show that header again. We'll edit our axis, and let's give it a 0 and see what that does for us. Now what we find is we're getting quite a lot of variability that really isn't there. So that there is 95% and the highest number there is 110. What we really want to do is not have a 0 on our axis, but we do need to get some white space. So I've got a trick that I use for that particular purpose, and that's reference lines. So I've built some pretty complicated reference lines in this piece. I'll let you download and have a look at how they work, but they're window maxes, and they use a difference between the highest point and the lowest point. All sorts of wonderful trickery there, but let's see what they look like on the page. So let's grab them and put them on our level of detail, which now means we can drag them over with a reference line. Let's pick our max one. You can see it pops up there. Let's turn it invisible. So let's make it none and none. Okay, now we've got a bit of white space above. Let's do the same thing with below. So let's grab our minimum one now. Make it invisible. There we go. Now we've got a bit of white space. Now what we can do is we can just step through some of the scenarios. If we're having a look at the various customer segments here, you kind of see that there's a bit of variability. Dots below, the dots above. We've got a bit of space below. Space, that's a bad one. So we're getting there. Let's resize this down to about how this is going to look on your Apple Watch. Alright, so the next thing I'd like to show you is how we got those labels. So you might see here we got a bit of context. That's 91%. 91% of what? I mean, that's $4,000 out of 5,000. Big deal. Right? You might want to give people a bit of context, and you can see that sometimes the label's below the dot, and sometimes the label's above the dot. And at all times, we want that percentage to stay in the middle of the dot. So that was quite a challenge. So let me give you a bit of insight as to how I achieved that with this labels demo. So let's go in here to show you a couple more examples of how that's above the dot. And then when this percent gets lower than that percent, this label moves to the bottom. And because it's much more important when you get closer to the end of the month. So we zoom out to say 23rd. So that dot's getting a bit closer. So there's plenty of room up there for a label, and a bit of room down here. And you'll notice that the actuals are in this dot, but there's no actuals yet in that dot. So all very complicated, and it boils down to this. So if I click on the label there, you'll see there's actually 5 labels. There's 2 labels above, a space, the label there, which is the percentage, and a couple of labels below. And invariably they're null at some stages, and these are null at some stages. So all in all, we get a pretty good result with those labels. So feel free to download this dashboard off my Tableau public website. Search for Craig S. Dewar, should get you there, via my blog, and enjoy. Thanks for watching.